Hi, my name is Sheree.
My name's April.
And this is
The Spyro Show.
Check it.
Straight out of Diamond Style.
This is the Spyro Show. 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 Yeah, about to kick it with April and Sheree. Turn up your TV and listen up closely. About to kick it with April and Sheree. Turn up your TV and listen up closely.
No fish you ever heard.
Today's topics are
Trayvon Martin.
George Zimmerman.
And the Invisible Children co-founder Jason Russell.
And we're going to start out talking about Trayvon Martin. I don't really know how many people know about this case or what's going on with this, but I encourage you to please go and do your research. Please sign the petition, which you can probably find on the comment section of any article that's written or on the actual article. Please sign the petition. This is very important, that the community bands together to bring justice to Trayvon. Mm-hmm. Trayvon Martin was a 17-year-old boy who he drug his father out of their house that was burning down and saved his father's life. This little boy was incredible. He played football. He was involved in school. He had straight A's. His family talks about him being like a super sweet boy who only wanted to help. He was taking care of his younger brother when they needed help. He was just like a really great kid. And one day he was, I guess he was watching a game or something with his father, and he decided to go to the store to get some Skittles and some tea or just some snacks for his little brother. And on his way to the store, this man, George, saw him going to the store and thought that he was suspicious. He had no reason to think that this kid was suspicious at all. He was in a gated community. That's where his father lived. So technically he probably lived in the gated community part-time. I think that the man was suspicious because it was a little black kid in a gated community. He probably wasn't used to seeing that. I don't know. So he called the police on Trayvon, and he was just minding his business, but this guy called the police on him and said that he saw somebody suspicious. The cops told him, do not follow Trayvon. Let them handle it when they get there. He decided to follow Trayvon anyways.
So Trayvon basically asked, why you keep following me? After the police asked George to stay out of it. There's no reason for him to approach him. There's no reason for him to do anything. So basically, George was just like, what are you doing here? And all this other. And apparently they got into an altercation. George Zimmerman had concealed weapons permit and basically shot him dead. He felt it was his right to shoot this kid dead who had Skittles in his pocket. He had no other weapon. He wasn't armed. He's not dangerous. He's never had a record in his life. He's only 17, and you shoot this kid down in a gated community? Like, why don't you ask, who are you? What's your name? Who are you here with? I mean, there's so many other things to do than just get into an altercation and shoot a kid down. Are you kidding me?
This guy obviously had some kind of issues. I don't know the whole backstory behind what this guy's mental state was or whatever, but obviously he had some kind of issues, some kind of chip on his shoulder or something, because when I was listening to the 9/11 tapes, he was saying, these assholes always get away. Wow. That's what he was saying in the 9/11 tape as he was talking to the police. So obviously he has some deep-rooted issues, probably for young black men. I don't know what that is. But the thing is that this man has not been arrested. He shot this little boy in cold blood for no reason other than he just wanted to shoot somebody. And the police have not arrested him. I probably haven't even questioned him. I don't know. But they have not arrested him, and they're saying that this is self-defense. Now, this George man is a big man. from what the report said.
Yeah.
Trayvon was not a big.
No.
He was a small. I mean, he was not a big kid. I don't see how he could possibly have thought that somebody, if you have a gun and somebody doesn't have a gun, how could you think that they're that much of a threat, especially if you're proportionally larger or bigger than the other person. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not buying it. I think this guy had some issues and he was hunting for a little black something, and he found it and he took care of it. That's period.
Yeah.
So please contact the police department where Trayvon lives. Please do your research on this. Please don't take our word for it. We try to give you the most accurate story that we can, but please go and do your research, and please sign the petition. It's so important that you sign the petition, because the petition goes to the federal government, it goes to the sheriff department, it goes all over the place. Yeah. Please sign the petition. Please get the word out about this. Promote this as much as possible.
Yeah. And think about it if you switched it around. If Trayvon was the 20-year-old African American man and George was the white guy, Trayvon would have been in jail in 2 seconds. You know
that's
that.
For sure.
There's no question about it. If a black guy shoots a white guy, no questions asked, you're in jail. So I don't understand why George is not in jail for shooting this guy. Like,
now with George, I don't know for sure, but I believe he's Hispanic. So I'm just going to throw that out there just so people understand that this is not a white man shooting a black boy. But that doesn't mean that there's not still racism and prejudice. That just means that he's not technically white. I don't know whether or not he's white or not, but from what I hear, he is a Hispanic man.
Regardless, Trayvon was black. He was 17. He had skills in his pocket. Never had a record. Great grades. His family is in turmoil over this. There's been outcry
my heart just goes
all
out
over.
Them.
Yeah,
it's so sad. I mean, when I read about this, I literally felt like this was my little brother. I felt like this was my little brother. This was my little cousin. This was, I connected with this story on a level that I have never connected with a story of somebody I didn't know before. Like, literally, I felt everything. I mean, just, it was so heartbreaking for me. Like, I knew that when I first heard about it, I knew that I had to do something. I mean, I knew that I had to try and get the word out about this, because our stories, sometimes black stories get swept under the rug, and we don't get the same amount of attention that if something was to happen to somebody else. And it's our job to be the reporters. We have to start reporting on our own stories, because the media is not necessarily going to take us as seriously as they would somebody else. So start a blog, start a blog, Facebook, whatever. Be your own reporters, and get out there. If you see something going on, get out there and say something and do something. There was tons of people in their house on the phone with the police that heard this little boy screaming for help, that did not go out and try and help.
Right.
Now, I understand that there's fear, and you don't really want to get involved in any kind of altercation, but unless you, well, no, I'm not going to say that, but
you can say whatever you want.
You should go and try and help.
Yes. Please.
I know that there's always a danger, and people don't want to get involved in other people's problems, but when we just forget about each other, this is the kind of stuff that happens.
And it's going back down to the way it was before. We can't let that happen.
Yeah.
Like, we can't let this crap happen, or else it's going to keep happening. We got to stop it.
Okay, so the next story that we're going to talk about is Jason Russell, the co-founder of Invisible Children, was just involved in, I guess you would say, a scandal. And it's kind of hard to talk about, because Invisible Children, I mean, I've been following Invisible Children long before any of this Coney 2012 stuff. So this is a little difficult for me to talk about because, I mean, it's just hard because this organization has been doing great things, and despite of what people say about them and looking into their finances and all this stuff, this organization has been doing great things.
Yes,
because they were doing great things long before any of you knew about the things that they were doing. They were still doing it, so it wasn't about fame for them because they were doing the work before anybody even came along and paid attention. But how could they have known that this video was going to go viral like it
right
did? How could they have known? They were hoping for 300,000 views.
Oh, they
not
got more
14 million and counting.
Yeah.
That's not what
they weren't hoping for this big publicity and stinging each other and the controversy. They were just hoping to get a word out. They're just hoping that hopefully this video blog will get the word out about what they're doing and how Coney is still affecting the LRA, regardless if he's dead or out of Uganda or not. That's all they wanted to do, is spread the word and get help for Africa. They weren't expecting all this other backlash.
Right. And I guess Jason had... I'm not going to get into a lot of details about what happened with Jason because I don't think that's important. I think what's important is that people should contact his family and try and contact Invisible Children and send in letters and send in comments and send in whatever you possibly can, supporting them and telling them that you love them and you care about them and you just want to make sure that he gets better. And I'm not saying that everybody should, because a lot of people are mad at Invisible Children right now and don't want to support them at all. But those of you who really care about this cause, please contact them and please send your love to his family because they really, really need it right now. I work for a nonprofit and I know what the stress level is when you're doing real work in community. It makes you want to go crazy. That alone makes you want to go crazy because you're taking all of these problems onto yourself and you're internalizing them and they're building up and building up, and if you don't take time for yourself, you're gonna snap. You're gonna go crazy. You're gonna do something that you never thought that you could do, and it's gonna eat you up inside. And then on top of that, that alone is enough to make any person go crazy. But then to all of a sudden have your life in spotlights. People are calling you all the time, asking you for interviews. They're emailing you all the time, asking you questions. You can't walk out of your house without somebody recognizing you. All of a sudden, the paparazzi are standing outside of your door because TMZ is the one that leaked this story. That means that TMZ has been following this man around. And all of a sudden, you got paparazzi taking pictures of you and following you around. All of a sudden, everything in your life is flipped upside down. People are sending your kids death threats. They're sending your wife death threats. They're sending you death threats. And you're already stressed out from the nonprofit. But then, all of a sudden, all of this happens at once. Who would be able to withstand the pressure of having something like that go on?
Go crazy.
I know that me, myself, would have a hard time with that. For the CEO to still have it together, he's an extraordinary person. He must be a really, really strong person because, I mean, I can't even imagine. You're just a normal guy. You have your grassroots nonprofit, and then all of a sudden, bam! It all blows up. Everybody's looking at you. They're looking into your finances. They're looking into what you did every day, what you ate this morning, everything. They're looking into. So why would people be surprised at the fact that something in his brain just cracked?
I would crack too.
I mean
I've cracked before, and I'm not even under that much pressure. So not like to that extent, but I've cracked. Everybody's cracked, I think. So why are we giving him special knowledge through the fact that he just snapped? I mean, since we've all have our issues, and since we all have our moments, as I'm sure she's shown with me. I've had my moments. She's seen with me, and I've seen some of her moments with her. So I felt bad for this guy because my heart just went out to him when, it's just like him and his family. He has a little kid, and just like,
I think he has two, right? He has two young kids.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's a family guy. Like, what can you really say to that? Like, the fact that he's very capable about what he's doing. The fact that he hasn't snapped until now shows that he's been keeping a lot of it under wraps. But I mean, he's been getting ridiculed and poked and prodded and just like,
and people don't stop once they. That's the crazy thing about the internet, is that once somebody sees something, they pass it on to somebody that passes it on to somebody that passes it on to somebody that passes it on to somebody. So it never stops. You never get this break from criticism nowadays with the internet.
Right.
You don't, I mean, it's like, and that's the whole thing with bullying too, is that's why kids commit suicide, because there is no escape from the bullying because of the internet.
Right.
They can find you on wherever social network that you're on. They can get your email. They can get this. They can get that. So you don't have a break. It's not like you go home and there's no bully. When I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of the social networks that we have now. No. So you could go home and there was no bully. It was peace at home. Now you can't go home.
No.
You can't go home. So that's no break in the mind is what causes the mind to just go off the deep end.
Yes.
So
much love.
Yeah, so much love and support for his family. I mean, my heart just goes out to all the IC people, all of the Invisible Children people. I can't even imagine. Because they just
lost a great player in there. Well, for now. I mean, he'll probably be back, but
I'm pretty sure he will recover.
Right now, it's just a blow, like a potential, like, momentary.
This is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, and I don't even know if it's appropriate to throw it out here right now. But I think that it could be possible that he may have done this just to get the attention of his organization.
Oh, snap.
I mean, that's a conspiracy theory that I was really thinking about that, and I thought about what would I do, what links would I go to, so that people
would stop.
Yeah. And in the way that I think, would I do something like that? No, absolutely not. But
I might.
Well, I mean, like I said, some people would.
Oh yeah.
I know that personally for me, I wouldn't go to that extreme, but I would go to some kind of extreme if I really cared about my organization. I really cared about the work that we were doing. I would go to some kind of crazy lengths to get people to stop. So that was just my conspiracy theory. It probably wasn't appropriate, but whatever.
It's YouTube.
Right. So our heart goes out to his family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so all ages venues. This is kind of a topic that is just like a random, because my friend Kyle asked me how do I feel about the discussion that's going on right now about all ages venues. And the reason why people are talking about all ages venues so much right now is because they are dwindling down. All ages venues are starting to be a thing of the past. And now all you have is shows in bars. They're 18 plus. They don't want to let minors in. Right. I mean, and a lot of that has to do with money. Who makes the most money? Meaning, who's going to buy the most alcohol?
Who's going to buy the most alcohol?
So, my whole thing is this. When people do not make a way for you, you have to make a way for yourself. I totally advocate for having house shows. I totally advocate for renting out little venues in your town, whatever. I totally advocate for that. But the problem is that people are not smart about it. You cannot have all ages shows and let underage kids in your house having parties at the same time as you're having the shows, letting the kids drink, letting the kids do drugs, all in your neighborhood, all over your house. That is how stuff gets shut down, and that's the reason why a lot of the house show venues don't work.
Right.
You have to be smart. You have to make sure that the kids are taken care of and that they're all right. If you want to continue, if you want to play the game, you have to be willing to put in the work.
Right. Exactly.
And if you do decide that you want to open up an all ages venue, you need to do research on business. You cannot open up a business and have no idea how to run a business. And I don't care if you think that you're going to book the greatest bands and you're going to book the greatest bands and you're going to have the greatest this and you're just so community minded. Guess what? That business will eat you alive because you got to know about accounting, you got to know about marketing, you got to know about how best to promote, you got to know about all kinds of things. You can't just open up a business and be anti-business.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, you can't.
It doesn't work.
Right.
It does not work. And what we're seeing right now today is a lot of venues, all ages venues, shutting down.
Yep. They just don't want anything to do with it anymore.
It's super sad.
Yeah.
And a lot of the reasons why all ages venue people don't want underage kids at their place is money, but it's also because the attitudes. Nobody wants to deal with a whole bunch of attitude.
No.
Especially when it comes to the punk rock scene.
Kids, yeah.
The punk rock scene are some of the worst kids when it comes to attitudes. Literally, I have ever met in my life. And I can say this because I've worked in all ages venues for, 5 to 6 years now? So I have dealt with every kind, and I work in hardcore music venues and punk rock venues and Christian metal and all kinds of different venues. So I have seen a wide range of different kinds of kids come in and out. I mean, I work at the door, so I have to interact with people. And the punk rock kids are so freaking rude for no reason.
Right.
I mean, to walk in the door and throw the money in your face and get an attitude when you tell them the rules of the venue, which that particular venue had stupid rules. But I admit that. But at the same time, you don't want to follow the rules, go somewhere else. I mean, you don't have to get an attitude about it.
Right.
Just go somewhere else. I mean, the only time that I could see getting an attitude is if what happened to me at the recent venue that I went to where a show was all ages and then I couldn't get in because they said it was 18 plus even though it was all ages. Now, in that case, get attitude all you want. I mean,
but there's more to that too.
Right. But because, I mean, they're not following their own rules.
Yeah.
But if there's rules at a venue and you don't want to follow them, too bad.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what to say. To be so anti-society and anti-this and anti-that, and then want to partake in the normal things that society partakes in is ridiculous. You have to follow the rules just like everybody else.
Yes.
I know you're so punk rock and you're so cool and you're so great, but you need to, I mean, if you want these things to last, really, if you really care about these things lasting, please have some respect. Even for a minute, even for a second, have some kind of respect. I mean, there's two kids that come to our church all the time for shows. These two kids never pay the full price. Never. What? Ever since the very first show we've ever had, they come to all the punk rock shows. They never pay the full price. And I don't pressure them into doing, because the way that our church works is that you give what you can. But they never pay the full price.
Never.
And at this point, in my mind, I'm thinking they don't pay the full price because they think they can get away with it. It's not because they don't have the money.
It's because they can get away with it.
It's because they think that they can get away with it. And it took me a little while to realize that. But that's just the kind of disrespectful stuff that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to give your money to a church, blah, 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 blah. But you don't know where that money goes to. The money goes to the bands that play at the venue. It doesn't go to the church. So what you're doing is you're gypping the bands that you claim that you love so much.
Right.
And that doesn't make sense at all.
If you don't have the money, don't go.
Well, no, I don't want to say that. I think that you should be able to go even if you don't have the money. But if you do have the money and you choose not to give it, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay. So if you do have the money, you don't want to pay it, then don't go.
Right. But if you just don't have the money, please. I'm not saying come to take hold. I'm saying that you should be able to still
Yes.
to still go to the show, and there should be people there that understand that.
You shouldn't take things
That
for
is
granted like
one
that.
part of all ages venues that I think you should be able to. Money shouldn't be an issue.
Or like.
But
offer...
it has to be. In that sense, you're kind of trusting people, trusting that they won't take advantage, and it has worked for us. People don't really take advantage. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. When they feel like you really do, when they don't have a lot of pressure on them, they don't take advantage. And I've had people give twice as much as a show costs.
Or if you don't have the money, you could offer to help somewhere, or
you
help
can
with
volunteer.
band, or
How can I help? Can I sweep your floors? I mean, there's so many different things that you could help with that I'm sure people would be pleasantly surprised and really take you up on that offer if you said, let me help clean up after the show, or let me help clean out your bathrooms, or let me help the bands get their equipment in. Just think and be nice.
Yes.
Just be nice. If you're nice, we're nice.
If you're not nice, we're not nice.
What else is it that I wanted to... did you want to make any specific point about all ages venue?
I just think if you're going to go to all ages venue, if you're a kid, and like she said, if you have the money to pay it. Because you're a kid, you're not going to be buying, like, if you're at a bar that's all ages or whatever, you're obviously not going to be buying to, like, help the profit of the building any, or help the profit or whatever. So pay the full price. Don't be mean to the people who do venues. Don't be mean. That's just not cool. That I would kick you out. I'd be like, you're out. And I just think, like all these venues, and if you think it's cool to run a venue, if you think that's the thing to do, you're going to get a lot of money. Just like she said, like kids do drugs at these places. Kids will find a way to smuggle in alcohol, drugs, or pot, or, like E and stuff. And then you're like left with the aftermath. What if the police were to come in and be all like, oh, what is up with this? That's not cool. Your whole business would be shut down. So,
well, I wasn't necessarily talking about in businesses. I was talking about
I know. I was
at house shows, but at businesses too. At businesses you got to be more careful.
Yeah. Because
you got fire marshal stuff and all kinds of stuff going on, which is all stuff that you have to research. But you have to be more careful. That's why you have to have security. Mm-hmm. If you're having people's kids in your business for a long amount of time, you need to have security.
Bouncer.
Period. If you don't have security, you're an idiot. Because you're probably going to end up getting shut down within a couple of weeks.
Yes. You will.
Either you need to have security, or you need to be a super tough guy.
Yeah.
Okay? One of the two. But if you're just some scrawny kid, just scrawny and just small, and you think that you don't need security, you're not very smart. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't like calling people idiot, but still, have some common sense, please.
Please, just for the
and this is something that I'm very passionate about because, like I said, I've worked in venues for so long, and I love the kids. I have people come to me all the time and tell me, like, what's going on in the scene, what the kids are talking about, and I say, no, that's not what they're talking about. And that's the thing. If you work at a venue, you have to listen. Listen to what the kids are saying, because they're going to tell you what kind of music they like. They're going to tell you what's going on in the community. They're going to tell you what's going on with the venue across the street. They're going to tell you what's going on with the venue across the town. They're always going to tell you everything there is to know about the music scene in your town. And that's what when people say to me, oh, well, the kids in the community are thinking about this, and I say, no, they're not, and that person argues with me, that's why I get so annoyed. It's because I know that because I talk to them. I have the kids that I have been to around in these venues follow me around. They follow me from place to place to place to place that I go to. Okay, so I've known these kids for years. So I mean, a lot of what they're talking about, I know because they add me on Facebook. They try to talk to me about everything that's going on in their lives all the time.
She's a counselor.
So I know what they're going through, and I know what they're talking about, and that has been one of the reasons why I make such a good door person, because I can tell you what kids can't come in, and I can tell you what kids are going to be nice and cordial, because it's the same kids, you know. So
yeah,
that's it. I mean, I did my last show, so I won't be doing door anymore, sadly.
That's what she thinks.
But yeah, so that's it for our discussion today. I'm sorry, I dominated the discussion.
It's okay.
And April was
it's okay.
April was talking. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
And like our pages.
Yes, like, subscribe, please, please, please. Like the video, subscribe to the channels, and leave a comment.
Yes.
Or you don't have to leave a comment, but please please subscribe, and please leave a comment if you can.
Yes.
I mean, it's very important for us to know that you are here, and not only that, but it lets YouTube know that you were here. So yeah, it's important. So please do that. Please.
Please.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.